Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for this morning's latest Newcastle United news. My name's Paul, and I'm joined by Billy Bob, of course, as usual on these live shows on the morning. It is a very interesting day so far for news at Newcastle United, which we will come into. But as usual, please do give it the thumbs up if you enjoy the show, and of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, please do subscribe, even if you're watching on obviously Twitter. Or you're watching a rerun of the show. Make sure you hit the bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. You can become a member of the Toon Review. Prizes will start again this week for our members. Hit the join button underneath the two of us. And, of course, you can super chat the channel if you do so wish by the $ at the bottom of the live comments. And that will guarantee your comment to be read out live on the show. Tom Jackson has immediately taken up a membership. Thank you very much, Tom. Welcome to Members Club, my friend. And thank you for your support. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, and good morning to everyone out there.
Interesting is what I'll say to start the new show this morning, because already there's been various announcements by Newcastle United, which we will obviously come on to during the course of the show. But we have to start with the goalkeeping situation, because that is causing a lot of confusion amongst the fan base right now. It seems to me like Dubravka may well be on the way out once he's finished. Well, he is finished now, of course, with the Euros. Jimmy Barr, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Very kind, my friend. It does seem like he's going out the door. Obviously, that will probably get done and dusted. Celtic is looks like his destination as it stands this morning, but we obviously wait and see how that one develops. But John Ruddy has been confirmed as well. Now, we thought when we brought in Mr. Greek man, we thought that he was coming in as probable number 3. It doesn't seem to be that way, because John Ruddy is now signed this morning, confirmed. So it looks like he could be number 2.
Yes,
the Greek man.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 old men fighting over a comb for that second spot. Because, I mean, it's John Ruddy's. He was an international goalkeeper back in the day. Back in the day when England had 3 keepers. He had to be one of them. But it's not the greatest situation, is it?
Well, especially when the Greek keeper was number 3 at Nottingham Forest. And suddenly, I mean, could John Ruddy be our number 2? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Vlachodimos will be number 2. Former Benfica keeper. He's a better goalkeeper than John Ruddy.
Yeah, he is. He is, absolutely.
But if Nick Pope was to injure himself, good grief.
Yeah, we are struggling. I mean, does it make sense to you? I mean, obviously, they've kept the costs down on bringing in a goalkeeper, which I think, in fairness, is a good move. We haven't had to pay a lot of money. When we look around the prices of goalkeepers, when Trafford was being banded around, and then of course Mamardashvili, who I would have loved to have got in, because I think he's one of the best in the world at the moment. But it looks like they've kept the money back for other positions. They've brought in Ruddy, very experienced guy, on a year's contract. And then we've got obviously Vlachodimos. So it looks like they're trying to save a bit of money in that department.
Yeah, they really are depending on Nick Pope not getting injured, aren't they? It's just as straightforward as that. If his shoulder to go again,
yeah,
we're in deep doo-doo. I mean, Vlachodimos is an international goalkeeper. Greece, obviously, Greece ain't the greatest nation football-wise in the world, although they have won the European Championship, which is something lots of nations can't. But yeah, it's perplexing. They're saving money on him rather than going for Trafford, though, aren't they? So that's 13 million down, and that we haven't spent. It seems like we're economising it. All of this stuff seems to be stuffed in on the cheap. Not the fact we haven't got any money. We've got, as we know, we've got a bottomless pit of it. But once again, we can't spend it.
Well, I mean, look, they've made plenty of money in the last couple of days. There's no doubt about it. 50 million quid is being banded around now as the money that they needed to raise. They've raised much more than that through the transfers. So now, obviously, we're sitting here. It's 11:35 in the morning, and it's the 1st of July. July is where we expect things to start taking off for Newcastle. Fubar has said Dubes is clearly going. Ruddy's interview is actually quite good. At first, I was perplexed, but actually, it's a really good signing on a free, and states he is there to help coach and support the others. Look, I have seen the interview with John Ruddy, and he does speak a lot of sense. You know, like it was too good of an offer to turn down. It's a massive club. He wants to be. He says he wants to be a part of where this club is moving to. So we've obviously sold the project to John Ruddy as well, as we would do to any player. But I guess the experience that he's got. I mean, one thing we can say about the goalkeeping situation now is there's a hell of a lot of experience there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought it would take much selling, given the fact he'd just been relegated from the Championship to League One.
Yeah,
he's now moving to what is basically, to all intents and purposes, a European club now. So I wouldn't have thought that would have taken much trading. But I actually saw the interview. Spoke a lot of sense. He's an experienced goalkeeper who probably can coach. As I say, England international goalkeeper. So I think, I think he'll be. I think he won't be on a lot of wages. He'll be on minimal wages.
Yeah.
And he'll be helping out. He'll be helping out in the coaching department. So I'm quite pleased about it, actually, as a third choice. But the point still stands. Why do we need 4? Mark Gillespie should have been out the door.
Well, I mean, look, that's going to be a question for Evermore to answer. Not Evermore the channel, by the way. I mean, it'll be an ongoing question. Sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to call out Evermore's channel there, saying it was Evermore to answer that. Maybe Chris can. Maybe we'll get an answer off him. Anyway, I've seen a few people in the chat saying it's a short-term deal, and we'll be looking for another goalkeeper in the winter window. It's a year's contract, guys. He signed a year's deal. So it's not a short 6-month contract or anything like that. He's signed for the whole season. Yeah. So he will be with us till the end of the season. So I do think, yes, it'll be a good experience for maybe the younger keepers to learn from, etc. But, I mean, they are taking such a risk, Billy, given Nick Pope's situation. I'm not saying that Nick Pope isn't going to be fit or, he'll never get injured or whatever. But the fact that this injury that he had last season, it's now the second time it's happened.
Yeah.
So, we've got to maybe just say, well, is that not a worry that something like that could easily happen again? Or has the surgery finally put this right and the time that he was out was the time needed to heal?
Well, he's had a pin put in. So, you would hope that would solve it. But, any injury can happen at any given time, can't it? I mean, who's to say the other shoulder doesn't get done? You just don't know. You play with fire with all footballers, aren't you? You don't know when the next injury is coming. But to leave yourself, we've got plenty of cover. It's just, is it good enough? That's a problem.
That's a worry. No mind all. Ali says, obviously, we had to take Forest keeper for the deal. We didn't. It's nothing to do with the Elliot Anderson deal. It's a completely separate deal, that one.
But it's helping Forest, though, isn't it?
Well, of course, it's helping Forest. But
they were close to it as well, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, as were many teams. How
did they spend 33 on Anderson?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. JT Toon says a little underwhelming, to be honest. Expecting to see a few more players and a marquee right wing over the coming days. Troll says the Greek keeper might be good, but if him and Pope gets injured, we are in the shalt. The shalt or the shite. He hasn't spelt it as our English ways, but and how is out? Listen, it is a risk, but again, I'm not going to say the famous words about the process because that just does my head in. What we do have to do is believe that they have a plan, and this plan is moving forward. What we have got in the goalkeeping department now is experience, and a lot of it. And if these goalkeepers need to come in for a few games, then be that may. We just have to support them, and hopefully they can do a good job. Nick Pope will be a worry, but as Billy's just said, he's now got a pin inserted in there, so that will strengthen up that area tenfold. Really, I've got plates in the side of my face from ice hockey days, and if someone was to hit me on that side of the face, it'd probably break the hand. It's just steel and metal and everything in the side of my head at the minute. So it does reinforce it. There's no doubt about it. So, but they will be keeping an eye on it, and I think pre-season is going to be interesting. To make sure that they're all ready to go. But, the goalkeeping situation now looks like it's done and dusted for pre-season ready, Billy. There's only Dubravka left to sort out, which he could be gone in the next few days.
He could be, yeah. I think the sooner he gets moved on, the better, really. I don't know what we're going to get for him, but, he's been a good servant for the first 2 or 3 years he was here. But since Nick Pope came through the door, he threw his toys out the pram, wanted away, and hasn't been the same keeper since then. So, yeah, I think Celtic will be getting a decent goalkeeper for the Scottish League. I don't think they'll be very pleased with the deal. They think he's outstanding after watching him yesterday when he had nothing to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't have a lot to do, but I thought he actually commanded his penalty area better than he's done for us, which was very strange. Look, I wish Dubravka all the best wherever he goes. He has done well for Newcastle. He has been a good servant. It went a bit sour with what happened with Manchester United, obviously. But if he is to move on, then wish him all the best. Tristan says, Paul, how did we get £70 million in debt last season? Because people are saying Ashworth got us over PSR. We need someone to control Andy Howe, a proper boss over Eddie. Where are the new director of football? Well. We may as well move on to that story, Billy, because Dan Ashworth has finally gone. He has now, he is now a Manchester United employee. The job for Dan Ashworth starts with immediate effect. His gardening leave is over. So whatever, cabbages and whatever he's grown in his garden. George, thank you very much for gifting the Toon Review membership, matey. That's very, very kind. And I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for sending me the text message the other day. Stay strong. But it is, he's gone, and there is rumours going around, obviously, online, Billy, about, Manchester United were trying to get him on the cheap because the new Newcastle United's PSR issues, and they could have done with the money. So they were trying to get him for a couple of £1 million, just so Newcastle could top up their PSR. However, Newcastle have been very bold and resilient, I think, in hanging on to him, given the PSR situation. And as soon as July the 1st clocks round, an agreement is made. And that agreement it's reported to be around 10 to 12 million quid, which I think is probably right in the end of the day. But the big thing for Newcastle is they've got that money coming in again. So that's what, like 90 million quid of sales we've done, if you include the players that have left. Dan Ashworth's gone. He's forgotten about now. I think Newcastle do need to turn to a director of football, because that side of things has gone very, very quiet.
It has, yeah. Whether we could afford to take one on whilst we were still employing, Ashworth, even though he's on gardening leave, I don't know. Maybe that would have pushed us further up the PSR ladder. So I expect some kind of movement to be done on this front now. We need one. I don't think a club of that sort of our size should be kind of leaving everything to the manager and his scouts. I think we need someone to direct them. Not the manager as such, but certainly the actual ethos of the club and the football that we're going to be playing. And that's what Ashworth was doing for us, and we'll do it now for Manchester United. I think we'll get one within the next month. I think that'll be done and dusted. Yeah. Whoever comes will obviously need time to bed in. Don't be expecting results straight away. You're probably looking for next summer now, or maybe even January.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if a new director of football comes in now, yes, the transfer window is still very much open, but he's got to come in, and then it's not like he can go and immediately sort of search for players and things like that. He needs to get to know the club need to get to know him. Everything needs to be put in place. So I think even if a director of football came in now, then the target for that director of football is going to be surely the window, and then obviously windows moving forward. So that would seem like the plan. Trolls, thank you for gifting a membership. That's very kind, my friend. Thank you very much. I mean, Man United, obviously, I don't wish Dan Ashworth all the best at all. I hope it all completely goes sideways and they fall on their asses. I do not like Manchester United as a football club. I do not like the way they conduct the business. I don't like the way the fans go on social media. I think that yes, there's a few good Man United fans out there who I do know, but the club itself, I think the way they conduct themselves is an absolute disgrace. And I think Ratcliffe himself has made himself look an absolute tool through all of this, and especially with the way that he's spoken in interviews, etc. The man is a bell end, as far as I'm concerned. And Ashworth, he doesn't go with my best wishes, because he came to Newcastle to work on a project, and he brought in a couple of players, fair enough, but there was always that element of doubt. I think you mentioned this, Billy, quite a few times over the last year and a half or so, that you didn't think everything was right between Eddie Howe and Ashworth himself.
No, perhaps I just saw that with the Lewis Hall signing was clearly a Dan Ashworth signing, and Eddie Howe was loath to use him for a long time, wasn't he? And we all say it was down to trying to get in with the fitness and that. But I thought when he played pretty well. He played pretty well in the Carabao Cup at Old Trafford. Because I don't actually buy all that, and I think a lot of it was to do with the fact that Eddie Howe had nothing to do with the signing and needed to get into how he played and watch him more closely and get him fitted in. Other players were pretty similar. Obviously, the Tonali one's the big one that stands out. Dan Ashworth obviously behind that signing. No due diligence done.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe would be disappointed that we've spent £55 million on a player that we couldn't use for a year.
Yeah.
And that was down to the director of football at the time. So you can understand why Eddie Howe was reticent. Dan Ashworth worked with Gareth Southgate for England, and he was on that brought him into the fold. So,
I don't really want to talk about him this morning. To
be fair. But
I know what you mean, though.
This is the quality of the man that he is. I mean,
yeah.
He didn't forget Eddie Howe was already part of our structure, but when he was at England, he took Gareth Southgate into the thing. If Ten Hag doesn't sign a new contract, I think that's where he's heading.
Really? That would be so funny.
Wouldn't it be hilarious?
Oh, God, yeah. Stato's in the chat. We're just delaying a big goalkeeper purchase for another season. More money for a centre-back, right wing and striker. I fully expect us to go big. Yeah, I mean, you and Stato, fair enough, talking last night, Billy, about, this month and the rest of the transfer window, aiming big, aiming very, very big. And I you know what? I think we will, because I think now that the PSR deadline's out the way, we've done what we needed to do for that. We have much more of an income coming in this season than we did last. I know people are talking about the Champions League money and stuff, but maybe we've just getting the Champions League money through this season. The season after it all happens. Obviously, Adidas money and all the other sponsorships that they're getting in. We've seen a lot of companies come on board with Newcastle United lately, so that will be more money coming through. There'll be a lot more to come. So I think there is quite a bit of money to spend, and I think I agree. I do think we'll go out and get a couple of marquee signings. Normally, it's just the one, isn't it? But given the positions, I think that they need to fill, we're going to have to spend the money to fill those positions. We've got a super chat come in from Centurion84. Thank you very much. In the Downey video, he mentioned it was a 60 million haul, which is incidentally how much the profit for Bruno would have been. Sounds like club banked on the sale and then had a week to sort out alternatives. Well, look, it's all done and dusted. It's all water under the bridge now. I don't think Anthony Gordon won't be going anywhere. Isak won't be going anywhere, even though, I don't know what it is with the Chronicle, Billy. I don't know whether you've seen the Chronicle reports, but it seems to me like, for a Northeast Newcastle United-based newspaper, they're starting to do my head in a little bit with all these constant reports linking Isak with Arsenal and linking Isak with other clubs. I mean, I don't get it. They're supposed to be a Newcastle United newspaper. They're starting to do me head in.
Yeah, maybe they should kind of support the customers that are buying the papers instead of putting them in bad moods. Give them something positive to think about. And we all know that this Isak to Arsenal stuff and Gordon to Liverpool and Isak to Chelsea was all nonsense. Mm-hmm. They're just putting two and two together, thinking we had lots and lots of money to make up on the PSR, and just talking absolute nonsense. So just don't buy it. I mean, the written press these days, who buys the written paper these days?
I mean, the problem is they're slamming it all online as well, and it's just. I've seen a lot of people start to criticize the Chronicle now and saying, "Look, what the hell are you doing? We stop linking our top players with moves away because it's bullshit." I don't think for 1 minute Isak's going. I found it very hard to believe that Anthony Gordon would leave. I think very much a smoke screen was created with all that to get the transfers done in the background. Interesting from Trevor. He says, "How knows he's going to England and no longer cares?" I don't. Nah. I'm sorry, Billy. I know that was a little sarcastic laugh there, but I mean, I don't think Eddie himself wants to do the England job just yet. He's got many, many years of management ahead of him, and I think he'd honestly struggle doing the England job because of the way he is, because of the day-to-day structure that he has. I think right now, as it stands, I find it very hard to believe that he would want to go and manage England.
Well, it'll be in the conversation.
Well, definitely, yeah.
I'm sure he'll talk to the FA. It all depends on what the FA offer him, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go, but I don't think this is the way of international football suits him at all. But I think financially, I mean, if he can fly around the world and scout teams to do what we're going to play against, maybe that will kind of temper his want of being on the training ground every day. I don't know.
James, I'm not sure what you mean by I can't believe you're saying that, Paul, to be fair. I don't know what you mean by that. Susan says, do you think there is something going on behind the scenes? So many experienced goalkeepers. Do we have an academy specialism? Maybe a young goalkeeper in the wings? Well, one thing I would say, Susan, is we never know what's going on behind the scenes, do we? And I think that's what we all need to actually realize when a lot of people come out on social media or in newspapers and say, oh, this is going on, that's going on. Nobody knows. Nobody truly knows what's going on behind the scenes. And for me, as we always do on this channel, we will talk about the media reports, but we will also not confirm anything without knowing from the club. So, yeah, look, I think John Ruddy has been brought in mainly for that. Certainly for coaching-wise and bring his experience and help the youngsters in the academy, because the academy does need taken care of. You know, the academy is something that really I thought might have got going a bit last season, but they were terrible. But we have we have a handful, I think, of really good players in that academy. Now, whether the goalkeepers are one of them, we'll have to see. But we've got Alfie Harrison, etc., coming through, and I think that's important. That even as a goalkeeper, John Ruddy's experience in the game will help these kids, Billy.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it's not just about it's the training regime and things like that John Ruddy would have done over his 20-odd years in professional football that he can hand down and the work ethic and things like that. Because that's what it is. He's a good professional. Clubs have he's always been in demand. It doesn't matter what level you are. I suppose goalkeepers, if it's a hard kind of situation to fill because there's one on a team. And he's always played, hasn't he? Whether it be at Norwich or Birmingham or whatever. Yeah, he's obviously a decent professional. And I think he can hand down some good experience and tips to young goalkeepers. I think from that side, I think it's a good signing. It hasn't cost us anything. Won't cost us a lot in wages. Yeah, I think it's a good signing.
Fubar says, I wouldn't want to be stood in the queue behind Paul going through airport security. Metal detectors firing off left, right and centre. Well, funny enough, I am heading to Fuerteventura in 12 days' time. And I expect the airport security beepers to go off. That's why I need a letter from the doctors every time I go away. It's a little embarrassing at times, but fast-track security these days, you pay a little bit extra and get through without the queues behind you. Heard it was about 12.5 million for Ashworth. Look, at the end of the day, I don't really care. He's gone. And that's the big thing for me. He's gone. We can now maybe look to bring somebody else in. I have to believe there's some sort of shortlist there. I know they've had interviews. I think they were pinning it all on Dougie Freedman, Billy, to be honest. I think they expected him to be the director of football, and obviously we saw how that worked out. They were, I think, a little surprised and taken aback that he wanted to, he ended up staying at Palace. Yeah,
I mean, obviously the end of the season for Palace and the youngsters they've got coming through there, it's to talk sticks to come to Newcastle. I think he personally should have made the move, but I'm not bothered that he hasn't. With Flacademos coming in from Benfica, is that the fellow Braz that we looked at? Is he maybe coming in now? We don't know. We're surmising. Elliot Anderson's wrote a farewell tweet. And it's quite emotional.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
it's. I don't know what I'm reading it for because it's bringing tears to me.
Yeah, he's put a video on it as well, hasn't he? So certainly when he was a kid playing for all the youth teams and everything, it is very emotional. But it's a lovely, I think, a lovely sign of respect as well. He's not bitter about being going. And I heard an interesting one on the radio this morning. Steve Howie was talking about he was on BBC Newcastle, and he was talking about Elliot Anderson's transfer, and he said, although it will be a massive wrench for Elliot to leave Newcastle United, the club he's grown up with, the only club he really knows. However, on a footballing side of it, Elliot may get a lot more football at Nottingham Forest than he will at Newcastle United next season, and I think that's the pull. And that's, as he said, as a young footballer, Elliot will want to play games, and he won't get the same amount of games for Newcastle that he probably will for Nottingham Forest. And let's face it, they're paying £35 million for him. He's not going to sit on the bench. So, I think he'll have a very, very good career at Nottingham Forest, and I think he'll get a hell of a reception when he comes back as well. So good luck to him.
He scores a hat-trick.
Yes, then I'll throw things at him. The big right hand says, morning, Paul and Billy. Obviously, on course, the stress heads can't wait for the new season. Anthony says, fair play to the club. They've been busy as heck and done some very good business. I suppose we have to look at it as good business. Billy, when we look at it, the money they've got for Ashworth, the money they've got for Minty, I think is astounding, to be honest. Given that he's never kicked the ball in anger in the Premier League. And I know what Stato was saying yesterday, talking, comparing Anthony and players like that. But what I was trying to mean was the age of the player as well. He's a very young, raw player who hasn't played in the Premier League. It may be a bit different from Anthony because he was already in the Brazil squad and stuff, hasn't he? So he's had the experience before coming to the Premier League.
Yeah.
But it's the age of Minty, I think. But listen, we'll see how he does. He may end up being a superstar, but he may not. Newcastle may have lost a fabulous player. Are you surprised there's no buyback clause in there, Billy?
Not really.
No?
Because, if he's not pushing for the first team now, when you've got Joe Willock and Joe Linton there, why will he be in 3 years' time, 4 years' time? I'm not sure. Maybe we'll come back at one day, but yeah, I think buyback clauses for Newcastle don't seem to happen, do they? We don't seem to go down that route. So
no, never. I mean, we didn't with Gaza, we didn't with Waddle, Beardsley, etc. Players that have left the club very young and gone on to brilliant things. I agree 100% with Davey on this one. When the window closes, will be the time to assess. A lot can happen. Yeah. Listen, it doesn't close till the end of August. We've got 2 full months here of the transfer window, haven't we? So yeah, there's a lot of time. But I genuinely do, though, think that Newcastle United will want to get the business done early. And Eddie Howe has said this many times in his interviews that he prefers getting them done so that he's got the squad there for pre-season. Obviously, with the Euros going on in the Copa America, I think some players will be given an extra few weeks off, which is a little bit pain in the arse, but we know that happens with the competitions across the world. But in general, I think he wants to get the signings done, so there's none of that rigmarole going on in the background when he's trying to prepare the squad for the new season.
Yeah, and think about Anthony Gordon for starters. He's not had a break for how long? Because he was playing all summer last year, and this summer again he's with the Euro, so he needs a good holiday. Anthony Gordon does. So you think about how long he's actually been playing for without a break. It's been a long time.
Very, very long time, yeah.
It's not as if he strolls around the pitch doing nothing either, is it? He's 100%, 100 mile an hour, isn't it? So quite a few players need a good break.
Needs a few weeks off. Andrew says, how about that Spanish fella for DOF who already knows the club and a big name, Juan Kevin Keegan? I'd love that. Yeah, I'd love that. Doug from the Dugout Football Channel, special, good friend of the channel. He's been a member for 28 months, Billy. Absolutely incredible. Thank you very much, Doug. Considering he's a Liverpool fan as well, a member of this channel for 28 months. Incredible. He's a good lad, is Doug. So go and check his channel out, Dugout Football. It's really, really good. Congratulations on 30k, lads. Not sure I said it previously. Well deserved. Thank you very much, buddy. Much appreciated. Rachel is in the chat. Good morning, Paul, Billy, Mod Squad, and chatters listening while working. I love when they say listening while working because obviously they're listening, so they're not working. Not that I'm saying you're skiving, Rich. Susan says we still have to adhere to the FFP. Maybe Ratcliffe finally got the light bulb moment when Simon Jordan told him to pay up. Maybe, but I generally think it's what we've been saying, that with the PSR deadline now passing, Newcastle are not held to ransom, basically, which Manchester United tried to do. That was blatantly obvious, and it's blatantly obvious from Jim Ratcliffe's interviews as well what he was trying to do. So I think we've done well to stick to our guns with regarding Ashworth, and now we've got the money. We can all move on. Alexander says, Paul, I sent an email about you. Oh, thanks very much, matey. I will check that out after the show, bud. Fubar says, do you think we agreed to drop any legal action regarding Ashworth's emails if Manchester United coughed up more for him?
It's possible.
I mean, that all sort of blew up as a storm and then went away, didn't it? It didn't kick around for very long. Lots of people had a rant about it, including me. But it seemed to blow over very quickly. That's all. Maybe something was discussed there. NUFC Ollie says Tonali's signing could have cost Eddie his job if we didn't finish top 10. Poor from Ashworth. Well, look, what I'll say is let's now move on with Tonali. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, whatever's happened with Tonali, it's gone. And I know it's a cliche, but he will be like a new signing, genuinely, because he's coming now to start this season. Or when he can, he missed the first couple of games, obviously. But when he starts back, he will not have any cloud hanging over him anymore with regards to any suspensions. He's done his time, and now he can look forward to being a footballer again. And I think we will see the very best of Tonali. There's a reason why we signed him here. Go back and watch Tonali for AC Milan or even for Italy. This guy is a special talent, right? And I think we've got a wonderful, wonderful player there. And I expect to see the very best of Tonali next season, Bill.
And if we do, I mean, it's hardly a credit plus in Dan Ashworth's book either, because anybody with a football brain would know that Sandro Tonali is one of the young stars of European football. You hardly have to be a football genius to realise what a great player he is. Yeah. So there's no kind of kudos going Ashworth's way there either, to be fair.
Indeed. Harry says, how long does Mamardashvili have left on his contract? I don't know, if I'm honest, off the top of my head.
Forget Mamardashvili, that's not happening.
It's not happening. I mean, listen, the way he's played in the Euros, I would not be surprised if Madrid or Barcelona come in for him, given that he's already playing in Spain. I think his value will have upped throughout this tournament. He made some brilliant saves against Spain again last night, which I thought was a fabulous game of football. End-to-end stuff, and credit to Georgia. They were under the hammer for 15, 20 minutes. I
felt sorry for Georgia, actually. I felt sorry for him.
But Spain are one hell of it. You know what? When you watch England, right, and then you watch Spain, how fast Spain move the ball around, and how you see them all moving up the pitch together, you're thinking, bloody hell. It's completely different. Spain for me will win the tournament. I think they'll beat Germany on Saturday. I think they've got the best side. That 16-year-old kid is just incredible. But they've got so much more talent than that. I mean, Rodri's just an incredible footballer.
That's really the game of the tournament Saturday. That Spain-Germany game. Really look forward to that.
Yeah. Andrew says, Paul, I take your point that Ratcliffe is on actual fact Bell End. Is an actual fact Bell End. However, I think there is an argument that Ratcliffe is the whole package. Screwed, balls, shot, and monumental purple promise. A clock. That's brilliant, Andrew. I wondered where you were going with that, because I hadn't read the whole thing out, and I thought, are you actually going to, when you said, I agree that he is an actual fact at Bell End, but then I thought you were going to give him some sort of praise as a businessman, and then I went into it and thought, hang on a minute, the whole package, screwed, balls, shaft, and monumental purple helmet. A cock.
That's fantastic.
Incredible.
If we still did post of the week, that would be it.
Oh, that is absolutely special. In fact, Andrew, do us a favour, matey. Drop me an email with your address, and we're going to send you a little something from the Toon review for that, because I think that is absolutely superb. So the email address is down in the description, halfway down. Send us your address, matey, and we'll get something sent out to you. That is, I mean, to make Billy cry on a Monday, Monday lunchtime is quite incredible. So thank you very much for that, Andrew. Brilliant. Absolutely superb. Alexander said he's celebrating. He has our man, but you had to pay us for him. Yes, exactly. You can celebrate all you want, but you've given us millions of pounds for him. And that's what the Man United fans don't seem to understand on social media. The fact that we've held out and we've won the battle. You know, yes, you've got Dan Ashworth, but Dan Ashworth hasn't actually worked with us since when? January? So he hasn't had anything to do with our football club since January. Newcastle have held to the guns. Man United tried to hold us to ransom. We've told you to piss off. Now you've got him for around 12 million quid. Who's the winner here? Jesus Christ. Honestly, sometimes they make me laugh. The Chronicle is the gutter press. They supported Ashley through his tenure. Yeah. PAB says United fans happy they got a snake who's proved he can't be trusted. He's out for himself. They're all mixed in together now, and you know they've all got each other. To be fair, so let them just stay with that. Claire says it's funny how the media think our players should go elsewhere to win things, yet they act like Villa are better than us, and none of their players should leave. Yeah, well, it's Newcastle. We're used to this by now. We really are. The Chronicle's on crack. Jesus. I hope we can win against France today, says Jan. Jan, I'm behind the Dutch all the way, mate.
Belgium.
Sorry, Belgium. Let's move on. I thought he was Dutch, man. Fucking hell. It's too early in the day. Billy, stop being a twat to me. North Shields Jeff says working on a roof in Jesmond, looking at the cathedral on the hill, listening to the Toon review. Perfect. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? By the way, I actually, you know, have a soft spot for the Netherlands, not Belgium, Billy. I just love the way their fans are. I love the camaraderie they've got. You know, the way they go to the games and things like that. It's very, very special. You know, and then you see the England fans singing about the war. I mean, it's just
that's again.
It really is. And you see the Dutch doing that dance and it's quality. Peter says the club have just posted a picture of Newcastle United's sign on the East Stand being removed. Goodbye to the shit direct font. Yes, it is on its way. The Sports Direct font is gone. Now, Billy, another confirmation of a permanent signing is Lewis Hall. Now, we thought it was 30 million. The price has been banded as 25. So 5 million less than what we originally thought it was. But whether the rest of the 5 million is made up on bonuses or certain stipulations of, you know, England places or appearances as they tend to be. But obviously they had to wait till the 1st of July for his contract to end at Chelsea. And, of course, now to sign his permanent one at Newcastle.
Yeah, fantastic signing for us. Really, really shown what he is about when he finally broke into the side at the end of last season. Obligated to buy him. It was always going to happen. People were saying we can walk away from it. Absolutely not. And I'm glad we couldn't, because he's a fantastic, fantastic player.
And he's got a big future at Newcastle.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Now
him
he's
and
now,
both
yeah. I think Lewis Hall now he's sort of I don't know, paid his dues, etc. Sitting on the bench for so long. I think now he's into the squad, and I think he's into the team to stay.
Yeah,
I really do. Paul, make sure you build a high semicircle stone wall on the beaches of Fuerteventura. Thank me later. But yeah, it is a bit breezy, that island. But listen, the weather looks
all the Canaries are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's in the 26s, 27s coming up in the next week or so. So it's. I'll come back looking like Linford Christie, Billy.
Bringing back some sausage, eh?
No, without the cycling shorts, actually. Yeah, that'll not be happening. Blenchy says Forest fans were saying they have better players than Anderson, so it's a bad buy. Oh, I don't think so. I think that, you know, Elliot's probably going to go there and definitely change their opinion. And I hope he does. Mark's a smart move for Anderson and a decent club too. Best of luck to him until he comes up against us.
Yeah.
John reckons watch for a director of football in the next few days. I don't think they're in any hurry. Now, I've seen a few comments, Billy, as we have another new member of the channel, Susan Townsend. Thank you very much, Susan. Welcome to Members Club, and thank you for your support. One thing I have seen is many people saying that maybe Dougie Friedman was put off and maybe others were put off by the amount of say that Eddie Howe is having. And the situation with Eddie Howe's brother as well, of course. Is that any way of... Would that put you off as a director of football, potentially?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you want kind of full autonomy on how the club's run, football-wise. And I don't think Eddie Howe wants that. I think Eddie Howe wants more of a say than what he had with Dan Ashworth. So it's a tough relationship to build. So maybe you let Eddie Howe make the choice of who he wants to be the director of football. At the end of the day, him and the director of football have got to be on the same hymn sheet.
We work very closely,
100% of the time. Okay, fair enough. They're going to have disagreements on certain things, but to have a good working relationship, I don't think they had one. Ashwood and him had one, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't know if they had one at Bournemouth or not. I don't know if that was the kind of system he worked under. But I think we need one. I think we need to have someone Eddie to kind of go against, butt heads with, if you like, but to get on together and to come to agreements, proper agreements, without one having autonomy on the whole thing. And I think director of footballs generally want autonomy, don't they?
Yeah, we've seen it many times. Charlie says, just so you guys sell merchandise, love the hoodies. Charlie, what I would say is, if you're going to order one, get it in now, because we're taking the merchandise down. We are having so many problems with supplies, etc. And to be honest, I don't think we're at that stage as a channel at the minute where, the merch orders plus the amount of viewers we're getting at the minute, we don't have staff to run that side of things. It's just been me and Susan. It's really difficult for us to chase orders up. We supplier wise. Some of them have took the piss out of us, to be honest. Not the guys. The guys who do the hoodies and t-shirts are fantastic. They're in the same village as us. But the rest of them are very, very difficult. The mugs we've had a good, successful time with. They've been all right, but the rest, it's very, very difficult to do merchandise. So what we're thinking about doing is just taking everything down, including the website, and then maybe sort of over time, hopefully try and find somebody who can build us a proper website. That's not linked to Shopify or anything like that, who can do a proper website with a proper shopping page where we can put orders in. If anybody knows or anybody does that kind of thing, let me know. Drop me an email, because it's just very, very difficult. So that's what I will say on that side of things. Another new member, Dave Tilbrook. Thank you very much, Dave, for joining, and welcome to Members Club, and thank you very much for your support. Compost Smurf, who I believe is a Manchester United fan, you've scammed us for Ashworth, about £10 million. Fair play. Just be careful of if certain Barcelona or Real Madrid come knocking, that may be a bigger job than Manchester United. He'll drop you in he'll just see you later. He's done it with Brighton, although that was our fault. I admit to that. However, as soon as Manchester United then come knocking, he dumps Newcastle. So it says a lot about the man himself. Davey T says, welcome to the sensible fans from other clubs. The others, thanks for confirming we are in your heads rent-free. Divine Bullies says, if Southgate linked to the Big Six, wonder if that's why he's not playing Gordon, as players gain value in the Euros.
Interesting point.
I know, but I still can't believe that anybody wants to take Southgate on. And I mean, can you imagine having to watch that football every week?
No, it's shocking, isn't it? Seriously, we've got the best attacking group of players we've had for years and years and years. I'm going to say as far as ever for me, in my lifetime. Yeah. And yet, what we're doing, we're playing it amongst ourselves at the back all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the big elephant in the room is literally the captain. Because if we had a mobile striker, I think we'd win this tournament.
Well, I do. No doubt about it. Richard, sorry I've joined late. I just saw the Newcastle United lettering on the stadium has currently been removed. Are we simply changing the font? Sorry if it's already been mentioned. Well, I mean, that is a question. Are we just changing the font, or have we sold stadium right names?
Who knows? Who knows?
It could be.
The rumours were that the Premier League were kind of stopping us announcing sponsorship deals last month. Maybe this is something to do with that. We don't know. We're only surmising, but
yeah,
who knows? Could it be St James's Aramco Stadium or Aramco
St James's Park, sponsored by Aramco, or Aramco St James's Park? Yeah, something like that. You never know.
St James's Park, whatever.
Yeah. By the way, we're not saying that's happening. That we are purely speculating here. We're just thinking what it might be. Surmising, yes, is a more of a posher word. Sujay, welcome to Members Club. Thank you for signing up, and thank you for your support, my man. Alexander says, my wife and I have a bet. If my French team wins, our boys get Newcastle jerseys, and if we lose, I have to buy them Chelsea shirts. She's a Chelsea supporter, but we now live in the Northeast. I win regardless. Just don't get them Chelsea shirts. Just say they weren't available. You know, you don't want to give Chelsea Football Club any money. Absolutely not. Paul and Billy, how long would you reckon Ashworth will be at Man United for until he wants to join an even bigger? Well, just spoke about that, haven't I? It's very interesting. You know, whether he sticks it out at Manchester United or he decides that you know, a bigger club lies elsewhere. Paul, you need a proper director of merch. That we do, a director of merch. Never mind a director of football. We need a director of merch.
I wonder if that's available. So give him a ring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The Toon review are bigger than Manchester United. Absolutely. The Telegraph will, of course, negativity about us. I'm sure Gordon will have been informed before it came out that it wasn't a genuine move to sell him. Well, he never showed any emotion when he was interviewed with England, was he? He just got on with it. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that Gordon never thought he was going anywhere.
He showed a bit of emotion today, though, when his tweet to Elliot Anderson, didn't he?
Yeah, and that was lovely. But that just goes to show the camaraderie that we've got at the club. And actually, Gordon said in his interview that Elliot was one of his best mates at the club.
Yeah.
So that'll have been disappointing, I think, for Anthony Gordon. But from Anthony Gordon's side, he will perfectly understand why Elliot Anderson's moving. He'll understand about the PSI. He'll understand that Elliot won't get as much football at Newcastle as he probably will at Forest. Trolls, thank you for your super chat. He says, I'm worried about the rest of the transfer window. Don't be. There's 2 months of it yet. Gillian says, Paul, have you not thought about using Amazon to sell your merchandise? They do all the work. You just send the merch. Well, that's the thing, Gillian. It's actually getting the merch made that is the problem. You know, the people that have already placed orders have had to wait quite a while to get the stuff. And some of them have been lovely about it. Some of them have been probably rightly a bit nasty about it, you know, but there's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied when it comes to placing the orders. As soon as we get them back, we send them out. But it's just getting the actual merch through. And to be honest, it's some of the messages we get aren't very nice, and it kind of puts you off doing it, if I'm openly honest. But I can understand people being annoyed. They give us money to get merchandise, and if it's delayed for any particular reason, then obviously because they placed the order with us, we get the flack for it, and rightly so. But then when we're relying on other people, it's very difficult. When you're not we're not the size of like the United Stand, for instance, who've got hundreds of people working in the background sorting all their stuff out for them. It's not like that here. It's tough. Gordon is a Liverpool fan, says Jake. That means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, we've seen that with Chris Rigg today. He signed a new contract at Sunderland, hasn't he? So he's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah. Who's Arthur Morgan?
Lord knows.
Apparently he's a troll. I don't know.
It would have been.
Oh, he's in the chat. Anyway, that is it for the news show. Thank you very much for watching. Listen, we'll be back tonight. We're doing another news show tonight at 7:00. We'll cover everything again in more detail. And of course, there will be more news. There will be more, certainly, transfers and players linked with the football club. 100% there will be, Billy, because this is going to, throughout this month, is going to take off again. Every hour there'll be somebody linked with the football club.
Yeah, it's silly season now. Clubs are allowed to spend money again now. So if you thought it was silly season every weekend, strap in, because it's going to get hotter and hotter.
I'm pleased you said strap in. The thing is, it will, and look, there's going to be a lot of players linked, right? And some will just not happen. But, the fact that we can be linked with them and we can talk about them, that's the main thing. Whether they happen or not, we'll just have to wait and see.
Just before we go, I just had a thought there. When Dan Ashworth walks up at Carrington or wherever Man United train, bearing in mind that Eric Ten Hag's done all the signings, and he sees Anthony and people like that, what's he going to think? He's going to think, who the frigging hell signed him? I think Ten Hag won't last there. I don't, honestly.
No, I think once sort of Ashworth's got his feet under the table, if Ten Hag has any sort of dodgy start, he'll be out straight away. That's what's going to interest me. But listen, it has been a brilliant show, and the only Carrington I ever cared about in my life was Blake. Billy, you'll know what I mean by that. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your super chats. Well, there was a few. Blake was class, though. He was
Yeah, he was, to be fair.
Yeah, he's just top man. But thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody who super chatted, new memberships, mods. You've been a dream again. Billy, thank you for your company. But it's all out to you guys again. Thank you so much for joining the morning show. It's been a pleasure doing this. We're going to continue it, obviously, for the foreseeable now. The viewers are getting higher and higher on the morning shows as well. So that just proves that you guys like them as well. But it's because of what you put in the chat. You guys make the show. You come on, we discuss what's in the news. You guys give us your opinions on that. And that's why it works, because we get everybody's opinion on things. I can't read every comment out, of course, but that's what the chat's there for. All of you guys can chat with each other as well. And we can have a big discussion about it. So thank you very much. We'll see you at 7 o'clock. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.
In a while, crocodile.
Come back and check out some breathing.